Hey everybody, we got a small group today. This is Keith Saltstein with NetX. We also have Ray Bolling from Eyemetric. Ray is the manufacturer of the TPASS AI Guardian solution, and Matt Smith, National Sales Director for Eyemetric. So NetX is the reseller. We work pretty closely with Ray and his team to sell the visitor management and add on biometric and face matching solution. So Ray is going to go over a quick PowerPoint. I'll talk a little bit about the history of the product, how we got where we are today. But keep in mind, this is not just for schools, but it can enhance any organization's safety. The technology is really interesting and exciting for us as it's different than most other products that we represent. So go ahead, Ray, take it away, please. Got a few of our customers on this webinar today.
Good afternoon. My name is Ray Bolling with Eyemetric Identity Systems. We started Eyemetric 20 years ago as a result of a project. I used to be a network engineer. I did a lot of work with school districts. I started working in technology in 1988, just to date myself. Back in 2002, we had a school district that was looking to build a fiber optic network on their campus, and they didn't have the money to pay for it. We decided to look for a grant. We found the National Institute of Justice, Technology for School Safety. Back in 2002, the things that we were looking at were cameras, metal detectors, things that you hear about today, but in a small rural town, there was no need for that. However, we went to the principal of an elementary school and said, Mrs. Morgan, what's the greatest risk that you have at your school on any given day? And the answer that she gave us was custodial issues. I'm concerned about giving the wrong kid to the wrong parent. And in today's world, it gets extremely complex with the different families and guardianships over kids. So we found this grant, and I was learning about new and up-and-coming technologies, and biometric technology was one that I had not done any work with. I was the first guy to install a wireless network in a school in New Jersey. We had wireless security cameras for another customer, but biometrics was the latest, as I call it, the shiny object that attracted me. In this particular slide that you see is that our company designed a system using iris recognition that would unlock the door to a school and also positively identify a parent that was authorized to pick a child up from school. One of the things that we learned from this study, and that one of the things that the government wanted to find out, was not just how well the technology worked, but also what were the people, the staff, the teachers, their attitude towards this type of technology. As we all know, if people feel safe in the school, they'll learn better. So we need to make safety to schools and to make people feel more comfortable. Ways that we can do that is not just with our standard stuff, but in today's day and age, and I think through AI, is that security should be a deterrence. And if people know that your district or your building or your campus has implemented advanced AI biometric screening technologies, you're going to have an advantage over other places from a perception standpoint as well as a physical perspective. So the screen here just talks about what we've done. And talking about today, from 20 years ago when I got started and 5,000 years ago, to me, security hasn't really changed since the king in the castle. We need to build layers of security. And we can only build so many physical layers of security that we need to turn to AI to do that. And we also talk about zero trust. Zero trust has been something that I think needs to be applied to physical security as well as network security and other things. I could be a good student today, a good student or a good employee today, a parent who's well behaved today. But every day we must go and reset our security levels. I was good today. I had a situation at home last night. I no longer am a good person. My wife comes into school and says, hey, we had a domestic situation last night. My husband is on edge. Here's the paperwork from the police department. Please do not let this person in our building today, even though they might have visited many times before. So we need zero trust because, as I said, you could be the former student, the terminated employee, you could be the suspended student, or the person that's on a watch list, someone who was known to possibly be a threat in the community, though they've never been to your place before, but it's a person of interest in your town, and we need to add that there, add them into our screening. So zero trust in AI gives us ability to add physical security here. Along the way, and how I came to where we're at today is someone talk about some of TPASS innovations. Because when I first got started in this, we would open the door to the school, we would let the person in, we would bring them inside, and then we would scan their ID and say, oh, you're not supposed to be here. So our company developed an outdoor ruggedized driver's license scanner. It works over a powered USB, utilizing shielded Cat6 cable to run the cable out to the device. And then we convert from RJ45 to USB. But this gave us a mean to scan for people outside of a building. You'll notice next door, there's the intercom system there with the camera. Older systems, when we got started, did not provide good video. There was no way really to see who that person was. So the outside scanner added a layer, again, that extra screening outside the drawbridge to our building. Which then brings us up to today's day and age. What has happened in this world and in the world of scanning people's driver's licenses from outside of the building? The fake driver's licenses that you can order online today from China, that college kids are getting. You'll notice in this picture here, there's a barcode on the back of the ID. The IDs that are being produced today are actually beating driver's license scanners. So theoretically, I could go out and get myself a fake driver's license with my picture on it, all the information different, and a different barcode. So we needed to add an extra layer. And this is where face matching, and I'll explain in today's presentation the difference between face matching and facial recognition and how we see it and how we would deploy it. But this added layer of AI with face matching enables us to use your existing cameras to screen before we open the door to a building. And then we can also get into identifying visitors before we come in. You could look like an innocent person, but before we open that door, we need to go and check on that person. So next thing I want to do is move over into a brief demonstration. And what I'm going to talk about is, and take you through here, is the driver's license scenario and why we've added in here the face matching, the screening of outside, and I'll get into the duplicate screening as well. That once we establish a record in our system, we can never create another record. While I switch over, are there any questions at this point in time? Great. So this is the main layout of our application. We call it TPASS. When the first grant that we did, it actually stood for Teacher Parent Authentication Security System. We were told by the feds that they like acronyms, so that's what we came up with. Today, we kind of call it Secure TPASS, so the name just stuck. Our application has different versions for schools, healthcare, government, and we have a version for correctional facilities as well. When we started in schools, again, we wanted to focus on the ability between an adult and their kids. So I could bring up a parent and I could see the children that were associated with that adult simply through a manual lookup of their name, or if the person was already enrolled in our system, I could scan their driver's license and their record would pop up just like that. From here, we can see the relationship that I'm an uncle to these kids. If I was coming into the building for other purposes, I could say cafeteria. It's a service call. I'm here to meet with a teacher or the custodian. We add this person in, we sign them in. We want to print out a badge, say yes. And when that badge spits out, I now get a badge that looks like this, that has the visitor and the person that they're meeting with. Pretty simple, easy to operate solution there. Everybody that's then checked in the building now appears in current visits and such. We can easily sign people out. So here I am, a visitor today, and I have a good valid driver's license that says I'm Ray Bolling and I'm allowed to come to the building. I walk up to the school, I scan it, my record pops up, and I'm good today. What we can do very easily in TPASS is manage people's profiles. I could be good today and I could be banned tomorrow. Studies have shown that 7 out of 10 times there is a relationship between the individual and the person committing the act, whether it's a former student, former employee, former lover. There is a correlation. So when we know who the bad people are, we can look for them. So you'll see here with my record that I am banned from the building, and if I was to come up, you're going to see my record. So what I'm going to do is I said, you know what? I'm going to go get a fake ID. I'm going to go try to be somebody else. So I come back to the building. Maybe I get my friend's ID, or I go get a fake ID. I scan it. It says record not found. Would you like to add this as a new visitor? I say yes. We quickly pull the information off of the individual's DL. For those of you that have ever experienced Raptor technology, we can scan the data of a driver's license in split seconds and not over 10 seconds. So I can go next. And now I'm going to take that person's photograph. This is a new visitor. I can take their picture while they're standing outside the school. Remember, I preface, we could do all of this before we even open the door to the school building. So we're utilizing, here's our outdoor scanner, what it looks like. And it just mounts on the back with the cable here. So I scan outside, I utilize the existing camera. I say image capture. I go to save that person's photo, and I want to enroll it in the biometric database, and I say yes. And no. Duplicate enrollment. We already know who that person is. I cannot claim another identity in the system. Once I establish my ID, that is who I am. Any questions about that? The thing that I find so amazing is when I got started using iris recognition, iris was the most accurate form of biometric technology. It's the color portion of our eye, and we had over 252 points of uniqueness that we could measure to positively identify somebody. Face matching technology today has advanced in the last 3 years at a rate where we are very comfortable to do a one-to-end, meaning that I try to enroll, compare my face to the entire database of my entire enrolled population. We can have 1 million records in our system here, and we're still going to positively identify each person, except for identical twins. Identical twins are one subject matter or a group of people that create a problem. A real-world solution for us. We have a school district in Texas where we took 19,000 photographs. So what I'm going to segue here to, folks, is how do we have a simple profile, but how do we build the database of faces? Okay, we don't have a database. You have all the photos that we need to build this database. It comes from your information systems, your ID card systems, your HR systems. If there are people we need to add into our system that have never been to the facility before, we can add pictures of folks, and we'll touch on that today. So we're building the database of faces. We don't have that face. So with the identical twins, just to touch on that, the twin sisters mathematically were identical. we had to physically enroll the second sister to prevent that duplicate check that you saw. So mathematically speaking, these sisters were like 99.9998 to 99.9997 like each other at a mathematical level. We had to allow the override to go in. Once we were trying to match the twin sisters after the fact and they were enrolled, if they looked directly at the camera like this and they were head on and we did a match, about 7 out of 10 times we got the correct sister. But the second they began to turn their head and slightly move it one way or the other, it became a coin toss. So unique faces, not a problem. Identical twins could be a problem. Any questions or comments there?
Nope, none so far.
Okay, so right now, all I've talked about is a physical workstation tied to cameras outside your building. We have extended the functionality of the AI Guardian. And we talk about the AI Guardian is that we can tie into your existing security cameras and look for people. These profiles are all managed inside of our TPASS system here. So when I get into, let me just make sure I got the right database here. So here's our guy, Mr. Smoot. He's being managed. And I'll show you how this in a second, how this actually works live. But we're managing these profiles here inside of TPASS. And by tying into your existing cameras, we can send out automated alerts, text messages, and email. That's from the security side. So let's show you how that works. What I'm going to do first is show you how we can take a pre-recorded file. So I've loaded this video clip, and I'm going to play this file. This is matching these faces in real time as it's processing on the screen. So notice 1 second, here's Chad Smoot. And I said I was managing his profile in our system. So if I was to change his profile and put him on the list, by changing it that quickly, you'll see his profile has changed here as well. Just to give you an example here, again. At the same time, we've been asked to utilize our technology to keep track of who's in a building. The goal of our solution and our evacuation alert, at any given time, you should be able to have an exact count of who's in your building, who's out of your building, as a way to do that. And facial recognition enables us to do that. As people are walking in and out of a building, they could look at a camera and be signed in and be signed out. They have to be active participants. You can't be staring down at the floor and staring at your phone. When you walk in, you'll have to stare at a camera. Any questions, comments? So this is a pre-recorded file that I showed you. What I want to show you now is I'm going to go into our live system. I believe that demo should be experiential, so you can take away from it and try to see this in real life. So what I'm doing is I'm firing up our AI appliance. And it's here that we configure your existing cameras. All that we need to do is get the RTSP stream. And if we want to use the cameras to keep track of who's coming in and out, we can set the camera up as entrance or exit or none. It'll just, ignore. And we can this way just add what cameras are necessary to process video. So you currently see nothing's happening. As a face comes into play here, all of a sudden you see that I came up red. Let me go back to TPASS here. I apologize. I normally like to set up my presentation to where I am starting off as active, so that when I'm seen by a camera or if somebody wants to move around, you'll see them being green. I can clear off the alerts. And as I move through a building, or if I'm seen by different cameras along the way, it'll pick me up in that camera, identify me, and send out, again, more information and notifications as far as where somebody's going. All again, what we've done differently, folks, is that we have approached this face matching and screening of people from the perspective of a visitor management system. We were doing visitor management and biometrics and the iris. We've also done work where we use iris, fingerprint, and face involved in projects for identifying people in the homeless, working in homeless shelters, so we could track benefits provided to them, be it meals or food bags or overnight stays. But biometrics create efficiencies because it's quick and easy, and also adds security at the same time. So again, I'm managing it from here, going back into our system. So again, we're good today, bad tomorrow. If I wanted to go to a single camera view, I could set up a camera. So as everybody walked in the building and they were seen, they could just walk past the camera and it'll sign them in. Single camera, line of file, people just rifle on through, and the system can pick them all up as they go. Thoughts or comments there? So I'm going to go back to our system here. And again, I'm still being seen and everything is green. But what's important is that if somebody changes their status, sure, sex offender screening. We have been doing sex offender screening since 2006. There is no such thing as a national sex offender database. It does not exist. If you go to the National Registry, it'll tell you that the registry in our country is made up of the individual states, the tribals, law enforcement, and they publicize their sex offender data on their websites. And through data mining, it's collected and harvested, and we pay for it as a service. So within a month's time, all of our sex offender data is aggregated and updated into our system. So when we provide sex offender lookups, it's all 50 states, including photographs, scars, marks, tattoos, whatever data is available off of that state's website is what we can provide. I will tell you that our system and anybody's system that's using sex offender screening for schools, for volunteers, don't use our system because the databases are not updating complete. There's a lot of gaps and holes. If you're going to bring somebody in and vet that person, go get them fingerprinted, get an FBI background check done on them. Questions, comments? So what I was about to show you here is I changed this person's profile. And utilizing our system is that if somebody who's never been to your building before even if that person was sneaking around and trying to look into a window, you see I just got identified in this lower corner window that I was peeking through. The accuracy, again, of this technology is phenomenal where it's gotten today, particularly when we're dealing with a limited data set of 10,000, 100,000 faces. In addition to this, what we've also done with our platform is utilize it as a way to expedite people being able to check into a building. If we can have somebody that can walk into the building as a staff member and say, welcome, and be checked in, that's great. Same time, they can go up again and go through the system and be checked out. In this particular case, I am being seen as an employee, so I'm just being signed in and out of the system. Let me just quickly change my profile to a visitor. And again, you can utilize our system for statuses, whether you're a high roller, gambler, whatever qualification you would like to use to flag somebody, we can do that. But I'm now a visitor. I'm allowed to use my kiosk. I'm going to save that. Is that we could use an FR kiosk where a parent could walk up and get signed in and check into the building. Any questions about that? In addition to our use cases here, we've had some other things that have come about with our platform. One of them is integration in with our business partners. One company that we're working with right now is Evolve Express that has a weapon scanning system. They provide AI to look for weapons of mass casualty, but their system has a camera here that's built into the front. And we've integrated into that camera. And by doing so, we're able to get our technology to process their video. So I'm going to play this video for you. And this is an actual footage of the camera processing as people are walking through their weapons detection system. So again, we're adding AI to another using AI for another physical layer. Play that for you again, just so you can see the mass of people that we can screen. So from this and the other things that we've worked on is the ability to have a tool that our customers can process and do their own investigations. We've had some school districts that have their own police department, and when they learned that we could take kids' photographs from the yearbook, student information system, kids are going out and they're getting into fights and they're posting these videos on social media. They bring the kids into the school and no one can fess up who they're fighting with or who knows who. So if we could take these video clips and load them into our engine, our Swiss Army knife, as some people have begun to call it, we can begin to process video clips. We could take still images, might even have a need to create lineups, should there be a need for that. So all very simple. When I get into where was my frame analyzing? Let me go to the next tab here. And instead of doing my Bolo search, I do this is my analytic tool. And from here is where I can choose the video clip to process, or I can go to a still image and choose a file. And let's say I grab this picture and I want to begin to process it and say, do I know any of these faces? We do know the one face in there. So, any questions or comments, folks? Thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you later.